last winter, gotta roll up and now. See you from afar, got my thoughts in the sky. Where we used to kiss, sunshine, shit, and why? You gotta call me every day, pretend you my baby. I see more real out there lately, it's crazy. Yeah, we could be the same as we claiming this kingdom shit and keep it tame. Come on, baby girl, we're not the same. Two different speeds, but we keep it one lane. Yeah, what goes around comes around. Keep 100, y'all. Do this for my soul like a dawn. Put the stereo on.
Put your hands in the air, we'll be alright. Oh, you keep messing up my mind, but I love your style. You know I
put the place up. Put my face up.
You never know until it happens. Ain't a thing you see coming a mile away. But suddenly lightning somehow got into the bottle. Now you need to move fast to make it stay. You should hurry to love him now. You should hurry to love him now. It's gonna get better, it's gonna get worse. One day is a blessing, the next is a curse. But that's how it is, that's how love's supposed to feel. Like God and the devil have struck a deal. You should hurry to love him now. Oh, you should hurry to love him now.
What up, everybody? It's time for some Paladins Global Series, OCE. Tigers here with pretty hair. And you know what? I want to challenge everyone, since you're the first one to find in that video where the double Drogos is.
What? Oh, well, see, in my mind, I already pointed it out to you, so I don't know why I feel like chat was in the room watching me do that now. Never mind. Yeah, that's the challenge. See if you can find it, ding-dongs.
In case you needed something to do with your time as the broadcast wind up. But we do have actual matches for you as well. Taking a look at the bracket, we have the finals of this week between Pantheon and Surge Escape.
Don't know if I recognize Pantheon, but, you know, Surge Esports Club. And that's,
I know, I want to just call it Escape, though.
I know. An abbreviation I'm becoming more familiar with by the day. These guys show up pretty often. They were knocked out, I believe, in either the quarters or the semis. They were here last week, but knocked out by Kanga, unfortunately.
But they're going to be Escape, so. They're
going to escape the bracket this time around, because you only have to make it to the finals to actually qualify for the phase finals, the way the PGS works.
Yep, so that means they're just working for that seeding and such. It's going to be a best-of-5 series between these two teams. And, yeah, we've seen them a bit. I'm curious to see who is on Pantheon, because a lot of times we see that where there might be a name change or something. It might be a totally new roster. Ascension, Peak, and good old Timber taking off.
There's a note in this background song. Like, a couple of these notes remind me of the Nazi Zombies theme song.
Yeah?
I don't know. That's a completely random thing. Have you ever played Nazi Zombies?
Mm-hmm.
Yes?
Yes.
Nice. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. I do know what you're talking about. So at least I'm not leaving you alone like you did me with the wooden horses.
Well,
so.
See, me saying that would be the equivalent of you opening up with, like, the wooden horse in the bathroom stall instead of, like, the squirt gun game at a carnival or a fair. You know what I mean?
I don't know. When I asked other people outside of the broadcast, they knew what I was talking about. So that's all I need to feel better about myself in that situation, even though everyone left me just on my hill all alone that one. But hey, we learned to live another day. Leon's the first lock-in here, actually taking quite a bit of damage off the board with the bans.
So we're heading straight to Ice Mines. A lot of front lines open. You are correct. One will be picked up at the very least, Genos and Khan, the two most reliable sources of damage amp for Surge.
All right, Nara as well. So a couple frontliners picked up. And Khan, there's kind of been a lot of use of him, I feel, specifically for his ultimate if you're going into some of those big units and you have a lot of areas to throw off, but not every map is going to be completely advantageous for that.
Yeah, the important part is the point fight on Ice Mines. And fortunately, that's actually the only portion of Ice Mines that has, you know, kill volume, hazard zone, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
It's easy enough, I think, to leverage as long as you go up through your high ground flank, through your rafters, so to speak. He'll be right at that railing in no time. You can scoop a Nara, throw her off the edge, and la-di-dee, la-di-da, you've won the fight.
Just wind it up, throw it out. Pip also coming in, so Genos and Pip combination. So Surge should have a lot of sustain on their side as Terminus attempts to battle it out with Inara on the actual objective. But it's the Maldamba Inara combo too, so it's a nice way to try and counteract that.
So that's going to be a bit, and we know Surge, I think Surge are the team that do this. There's some team in OCE or some region in the PGS that picks like this 4 protect 1 Vivian strat with a lot of movement speed and damage amp for her. She's going to be able to go toe-to-toe with Ruckus, and that's the primary thing that I wanted them to pick out, whether it was like a Shaolin or Vivian or something like that. Maeve goes completely unpicked, unbanned in this set, showing us that not the rest of the world has gotten woke to that pick yet.
There's orange and purple on that screen. I never really think of those colors as going together, but hey.
But they do. It's one of my favorite combinations.
Really?
It's very Halloween-y, but...
Orange and purple?
Mm-hmm.
It's not Halloween-y.
It absolutely is.
What?
I will
Are you just saying anything
hill.
with orange is basically Halloween?
Orange and black, orange and purple, green and purple, very Halloween-y combinations.
Well, if you say so. Oh my gosh, what a name for Inara, Stone Bay. So that leads me to believe he has a lot of love for this champion. I don't know how else to read that.
This is actually Anthony playing Inara in the OCE PGS.
Ah, yes. We have our explanation. What? That means that we're having high expectations for this Inara player if you're going to go ahead and have your name alluding to such. But Baboon taken to the rafters, attempting to shoot from the ski lodge. Nice bar shots into the shields on the opposite end, but no one getting too much value just yet. Kind of some friendly poke on both sides.
Yep, looking for a way in. Vivian actually the most exposed right now. First blood finally falls, will be onto the Bomb King. Shakespeare finds that. Now he and Khan surging forward. This has potential to be a pretty dangerous duo. They chase Ruckus off the high ground. Opportunity to pinch him here now with Terminus rotating back in.
Chunk down just a bit, and there goes the Ruckus. Daddy DLS taking him out. Surge having to slow down a little bit on the objective if Pantheon Esports can turn this around, but so far, they're actually just being pushed so far back by Surge. All this pressure being applied by J-Quip.
Opportunity and Chaos here being run by Vivian, which is simply fire for, I believe, 1.5 seconds, and then you will start doing bonus damage. There it is. You can see once the numbers turn all orange, comic booky, you know, kapow effect around them, that's when you know
Pow, bam.
that she is pedal to the metal here. 75% on her ultimate. The shield goes up, but quickly down, but the shield is really just there in this matchup, especially against Bomb King, just to cover, just to get her to that bonus damage section. You can already barely sometimes beat her when she doesn't have the bonus damage enabled, but when she is fully ramped up and spun, I mean, there's really nothing you can do to go toe-to-toe with this character.
Man, Maldumbo was so happy those ice blocks were there just for him to hide behind in chicken form. But the evil Mojo doesn't get the kill off of it, but Snowbay ends up going down, and J-Quip punished. So Baboon and Blade both getting a couple kills under their belt. Should be slowing the roll of this payload in the meantime.
A little bit overzealous there for sure. Up on the high ground. The second he activates his ult, you know, I get it. You're a little bit more confident once you've got that rolling, but all the same, Vivian will fall. Genos is going to die. Terminus gets a kill before falling. No ultimate to reanimate back into this fight. But Pantheon are doing a good job holding.
Yeah, it's kind of a little bit of a stagger, but you saw Leon get a kill, then die, then the same thing for Terminus, then die. And right now, Blade gets one, then dies. So a little bit of a theme developing, it seems, within this portion of the match, but that's just what happens when you try to go in aggressively and don't have as much protection available to you.
Little brawly. Here comes the first overpower of the game. And see, that's win condition number 2. You don't have to throw people off. You can just hold them perfectly still for your team to just wail on for 5 seconds. And even with Inara, I believe she had her Earth and Guard pop as well, still doesn't take the full 5 seconds, more like 2 or 3.
And just make sure you yell in the comms, hey everybody, come and hit them. Here's actually an evil Mojo. Gets the double kill immediately afterwards. So this was a great use of the ultimate this time around. Yeah, we've seen a couple of moments where actually gripping up with the overpower and then thought that the individual was finished off, but nobody was really there to turn around.
Oh, you thought.
So
Now this is scary.
yeah.
Oh, wow. Well,
Surgeon.
not as scary as I thought it was going to be, but even if they did make it out in time, I think with a Vivian already in position, already spun up with, you know, full cooldowns ready to go, I don't know if you can punch your way back into that fight. That being said, 29,000 damage. Shakespeare, this kid is a hell of a player. He's been very impressive, I think, from day one. Gets that quick kill, no hesitation on the Evil Mojo, landing all of his cooldowns as well. And I believe he's running some CDR on elimination, so he's got a lot of snowball potential here.
Very eager to just follow up on his own ultimate, and that's a great place to be. And a lot of these actual picks for Surge, I know that we've seen them very comfortably performing on them in the past, and right now just seem to be outclassing, really leaning into this composition.
Ultimates all across the board for Pantheon, not even really close on the Evil Mojo or the Overpower. Those are the two big ones. Still have Reanimate, which can get some kills, can at least stall out a fight. Gives the battle shout out. A lot of bonus damage ripping through this Ruckus. Oh my goodness, he simply did not account for all of that.
Couldn't escape at all, and now the rest of the team is also starting to fall. Here's the seismic crash from Inara. Tries to get some value, but the Genos and the Vivian both picking up a couple kills. Comeback mechanic available for Pantheon, but still gets a clip onto the Inara. Not enough to actually kill her off, but Two Essence is actually going to follow up.
Lucky for her, she had Earthen Guard enabled. J-Quib going for a pretty risky flank here. But as long as he doesn't fall apart too quickly, this capture should be about wrapped up for Surge. Here comes the Hexafire. It's covered a little bit by Power Siphon. J-Quib picks up one, almost gets two for his trouble, but will eventually fall. But again, he didn't fall fast enough. Surge will still grab the payload.
And now time to push again, and as long as they can get past this first choke, which it seems like they should be able to, all of them are up and ready. And they're just kind of still following with the same momentum. Shakespeare not afraid to get aggressive, hiding in the side corridor that you often see those on the aggression. Get the good angle onto Pantheon as they attempt to defend, forces them all the way back to the next choke.
It's a big jump off the wall as well. Another big one off the ice blocks. Goes to the high ground, poked out very quickly though, so it's going to have to back up. J-Quib falls as well. Evil Mojo solo out onto Inara, just to allow his team to maintain a little bit more map control. No shout available, no life available. Khan is going to fall to the King Bomb.
So King Bomb also not available now after that play, but Pantheon had to use a lot of their ultimates within the past couple fights, and it's going to take a while before those come online. Luckily for them, it's the same case for Surge. They don't have many resources available to them, but the way that Shakespeare and the rest of them have been playing, well, I was about to say
that's just a good
something
shot.
else, but yeah, that was
Unless it was an auto-aim shot from Baboon. Could have been. A lot of stars to align here. Obviously, Vivian has her own source of damage amp. Genos with the Luminary will be able to help out a little bit, and then Conshout just to top it all off. So this Vivian pick could get really scary around the corner here, and Ruckus, I think, is already respecting that. But Inara dunks a Warder's Field right at her feet.
Unfortunately, unable to actually make even more with the play that they wanted. I like the angle they are coming from, and the Genos with the follow-up with the ultimate, and still managing to pick something up from that. We're in the final 45
Why
seconds
you gotta
of
do
this
that?
Potential push.
Why do you got to drop your shield there with 150 HP? What significant impact are you having shooting for 130 from that distance
I don't know,
and
man.
dying there? Stupid mistake.
Couldn't tell you. And on this map, it takes a long time to get back to the actual objective when you're this far pushed up. So after spawning, and I think Pantheon, if they're smart, they'll recognize that and just try and lock down on the payload currently. As you can see, a couple of them moving forward. Surge forced to back off and wait for their next entrance, maybe until a couple of these ultimates come back online. Evil Mojo so close to being completed, as well as Overpowered just came back up.
A lot of damage ripping through this Ruckus. He's not going to survive. Gas Pedal appears to have been hit for this Vivian. Here's the Evil Mojo. Shakespeare again, breathing new life into this push for Surge, and they might just close it out 4-0.
That was a heavy hit, and right now boxing it out with the Bomb King. And I love the fact that Shakespeare's not been afraid to just get right into the middle of the nitty-gritty, and because of that, Surge Esports take the victory in game number 1.
Hell of a performance from that Pip. I think top damaging over a Vivian that has a comp around her with a bunch of sources of damage amp isn't easy. To be fair, he's sort of in the same shoes, right? Catalyst is some damage amp. He's still able to benefit from Conshout. In fact, probably benefited from more Conshouts than Vivian just because he's able to keep up, so to speak. It's less risky for a Pip to overextend because he's got mobility to get himself back to safety, whereas Vivian, as you saw, once J-Quib committed to something, a lot of times he'd bring somebody with him, but he often died out on the field for it.
Yeah, but even the pressure that was being applied from the team as a whole, with Pip being aggressive and being able to lock down Inara in so many cases, and then when J-Quib was paired with somebody and allowed to just kind of get things rolling, then Ruckus a lot of times was the target. So without those bigger units in the front, the enemy team seemed to fall.
So that's going to be game number 1, guys. This is a best of 5, though, so someone's going to have to claim 3 wins. And seeing this start on Ice Mines kind of takes me back to yesterday when we actually saw NIP pick Ice Mines in their second map. Normally, Ice Mines a pick that you won't see very often, much less so even from a favored team, I think, as our Surge in this matchup.
So let's see where we're going next. A bit warmer of a locale. It's going to be Bright Marsh.
Do you think it's the warmest map in the lineup? It's probably the most like
humid.
South Florida of all the maps.
Brings me back. It's like probably kind of.
How's the humidity here versus there?
Oh, it's definitely
comparable?
more humid there. I mean, I guess.
Close?
It's been a while since I've been to Florida in the summertime too, so.
Oh, really?
I guess, yeah, unfortunately. Usually when I'm going there, it's winter, and winter in Florida, which is always nice.
Yeah.
Step away from some snow. Go back to when in Florida it hits 60 degrees and you bring out your coats and your boots and. That's not a lie, guys. I wore like sweater dresses to school when it was 60 degrees because that's.
Oh man.
I think part of it was
tank top weather.
Well, part of it was Floridians not being used to it, and then the other part I think is you never have a chance to bring out that fashion. So I feel like it was actually a lot of the population being like, I never get to wear boots or sweaters or anything. So I'm going to do that now, because otherwise, once these few days pass, I'm going to miss my opportunity.
Well, talking about fashion here in the realm, gotta say Pantheon are looking a little bit more stylish. Just a bunch of armor on the side of Surge. And Pip's got his weird little tunic, his little rat boy tunic.
Yeah.
Who makes Pip's clothes, you know? His mom.
I could see him making them for himself. Like early Spider-Man, like having to make like, oh, you know, I'm just gonna like
in the
fashion
garage.
I'm a superhero.
I feel like Pip would do something like
oh,
that.
Oh baby, let's get it.
Do it.
Let's get this
Do
money.
it. Yeah. Let's see some Willow. Let's see some Moji on the same team. Hey,
Let's
so
go.
Willow is getting locked in. I don't know if the Moji's coming through too.
This has a potential, and I think this is I can't remember exactly if this is the team that does that 4 protect 1 on Vivian, but even with Eevee, I don't know. I think Moji would have been more fun, but there's a potential. Oh yes, let's go.
Yay!
This composition could be extremely fun with, you know, if this Pip is running like some move speed or something for his whole team, like he just splashes a heal down at his feet, boosts everyone. They all get a conch out. They're ripping through with bonus damage, CC immunity. I mean, there's a lot of just steamroll potential for this comp. It could also fall flat on its face.
Yeah, and as dominating of a performance as Surge had in game number 1, if they just come through with a composition like this and then it falls flat and nothing happens,
yeah,
and they look a little silly for it. So there's your Halloween colors.
Is that really not like I'll take a picture of like I have this like Halloween bandana with like a scary like jack-o'-lantern face on it. I will take a picture of it and show it to you.
I mean, maybe. I feel like orange is just a Halloween color, so a lot of people just pair
So everything's
things with
just
it.
orange?
Well,
orange
it's usually
and purple.
orange and black.
Orange and black, orange and purple, purple and green. I stand by as Halloween color combinations.
I do not stand by purple and green. Maybe if there's a specific
Think about like
costume or
a
something.
witch's socks, you know what I mean?
But that's a specific thing, right? That you can, I mean, you can take any kind of character
Sure.
or whatever. You also
So
see
give me one.
what?
A
Like
purple,
purple.
someone who'd wear purple and green. That's not
Joker?
Halloween related. I'd say Joker's pretty damn Halloween related.
Well, I mean, you can take any character that exists then in any kind of media,
Would Batman,
and they can technically.
would Spider-Man, would Superman?
Oh my god. You know what? Whatever.
How you
I
gonna-
stand by orange is a Halloween color, and people just like pairing things with orange. And
I
sure.
wouldn't say orange and yellow, or orange and blue, or
Oh
orange
my
and red.
God. Whatever, man. It's orange and black. That's how it is. When you're in elementary school and you're making crafts and it's at Halloween time, they're saying put your like pumpkin on the wall with your pumpkin gram to somebody. It's orange and you write in black. That's what it is. But hey, you know what? As far as the game goes, here's a few kills going in the favor of Surge. So with this composition still looking strong.
And they're moving around very quickly. There's a lot of kind of self-sustain to be had that can be frustrating early on and frankly difficult to have coverage of even late game, right? When this Moji skates away, then maybe Pip's gotten a heal off on himself, and then, oh, now we got to worry about this Pip healing himself. Oh, wait, now Moji's not cauterized. She's able to heal herself back up. So it can get a little bit oppressive with the amount of self-sustain available to this composition. A little bit frustrating even, and 88% on this snack time ultimate might be the first one up and available unless Shaolin hits this arrow, and he does.
Double kill for Pantheon. But you saw when Surge ended up capturing, so many people on the side of red were actually there. They just weren't able to touch in time, and I've been trying to make up for that lost opportunity, slow down the roll just a bit. But as some of these ultimates do come online, snack time and all, we could see those as a way for Surge to try and snowball to another point.
Taylor arrow queued
There's
up, ready
the
to go.
snack.
It's going to find Ruckus. Planted combo isn't good enough to kill Khan outright, but it will be good enough to find Willow.
So Shakespeare hitting that ultimate, and sometimes it's kind of that two-parter, right? You got to actually pop it off and then make sure that you chomp on down. Right now, getting another kill onto the Genos. And fairly effective so far. No one on Pantheon, because of the fact that there's kind of a dispersity of utility among multiple members on Surge. They haven't really been able to just lock one down and let the rest of the team fall like dominoes because of it.
Pretty clutch heals coming through. There's the overpower, easy kill onto Eevee, now turning his head to Inara, who's already parked at about 30% HP. Big damage comes through. She's already marked up 10 stacks, explodes for about 800 in damage. And now it's just such a snowball. Emoji doesn't have to reload, barely has to aim. Shakespeare is just rolling through this fight.
Yeah, just look at the way that he's so smoothly moving within the fight as well. So Pantheon, there's of course some pressure being applied from the rest of the team, but with that supplying of healing from himself and then all the sustain overall with the units, then isn't forced to get out of these fights as soon as some of the other champions would actually be forced to do, especially with this mobility.
A lot of good heals. I'm slaying out the Shaolin in his Heat Haze. Incredible stuff. I don't care what the healing numbers are, if this Pip is beating this Genos or not. His healing has just been more effective. It's on this this Moji every single time, bailing him out in clutch situations. Lilac gets to the back line, finds the kills, and this one might be snowballed through.
There you go. It's the push. And yeah, it comes down to when Genos is on the top of the healing charts, sure, but if you combine the efforts of Surge, it's not just a numbers game. It's the fact that you're having healing from multiple resources, and when you can't just lock down one person and say, all right, we took out the sustain, now we don't have to worry about it anymore, then it kind of just scatters your strategy.
There's so much concentrated self-sustain on this Moji that Shakespeare is able to, frankly, frontline pretty effectively. She was out in front of Khan most of the time. Between Magic Barrier and Scamper, there's enough mobility, enough safety in this character on a low enough cooldown to where you can sort of do that pseudo frontline job. Nonetheless, Willow still will be taking the mantle of top damage for the time being.
The familiars just disappear. He's riding on in. I wonder where they go.
Magic.
Yeah, the magical being, and here they are back with an immediate snack time onto the Inara, but actually, yeah, goes in the opposite direction through time and space, directly through the corridor as well. Double kill for Tumescence off the back. So, hey, didn't get the snack time, but here's a King Bomb to maybe make up for it. Looking for the target, going into the face of the Ruckus, it seems. Immediate pop. And Surge, those are a couple clutch kills where they can get this objective time.
Bomb King makes it out with about 100 HP. Willow, the same story there. There's too many kills escaping, especially when you have self-sustain or can just get out of combat. Willow and Bomb King did a good job just being responsible and not rushing their re-entrance into the fight. They come back in with full HP at full effectiveness and both get kills.
Oh, there's an Ice Storm right in the middle of the fight, but Eevee ends up falling immediately after. A Seismic Crash, Pantheon attempting to do everything they can to keep this fight going as it's 99% for Surge. Shakespeare in pursuit of another, finds it onto Baboon, just scampers right to the top, and that's the thing. I feel like Shakespeare's just been able to freely move across this entire map and doesn't even care if he takes some shots.
OG's the perfect character to just street sweep an area for a stealth champion like that. Doesn't have to reload, like I said. Any amount of this damage will pretty much peel Shaolin. He can take... Every character has a different stealth cap or damage cap where their stealth actually breaks, so to speak. I don't know what Shaolin's is off the top of my head. I don't even know where that information is available. You just kind of have to feel it out.
And right now, Surge losing two of their members, a couple damage dealers, but still about 50% on this push. And Pantheon, Baboon's just getting targeted a few times right now. Ruckus in a bit of trouble. Of course, Daddy has to heal up himself. Here are the big guns indeed, but a lot of it going right directly into the shield. Throws the damage on back. Shakespeare getting the last hit on that one. But a team effort indeed. I mean, Sakura just has been targeted so many times and unable to actually get any of these shots and rockets off.
It's just everywhere. Shakespeare has been all over this map. The mobility, still focusing on the cooldowns and the self-sustain here, using Scamper healing you, and a little bit of elimination CDR. He's gotten plenty of those. 4 streak right now, 15 for the Pip, 10 for the Khan. And it's helping their streaks, you know, when you toss out a heal onto this Moji, and I believe Khan can leverage this as well. Even with his Battle Shout heal, he can get eliminations off of Shakespeare's play.
Just very oppressive with that magical throw-up, man. Not letting up at all onto Pantheon, and they actually lose their Genos right now. So for them, being that he is the only source of healing, it is more impactful when he goes down. Eevee takes another fall right out of the air.
And you just don't really have to aim. That's really the theme of that character. It's not the highest DPS thing in the world, but you just don't miss. And when you kind of see this Eevee soaring around trying to do her little crackhead routine up in the sky, and he's still not missing, that's the strength of Moji.
and the way that Shakespeare was able to have no fear as well, because I think when you know that you have that self-sustain, you know the rest of the team is doing a good job of keeping themselves alive, and then on the side of Pantheon, they're kind of scattered. Where exactly am I supposed to focus? Because when I look at Moji, they hit me with a snack time, or just all of that continuous damage. So in the end, it works.
And I mean, even if they do run comps on a little bit of the memeier end of the scale, they're so good at playing as a team and playing those compositions rather than just playing for themselves. They pull them off, pretty nicely.
Yep, that was game number 2 of the set. Surge with double 4-0s, and now we're going off to Fish Market.
We'll have to see what they've got in store here. Bit of a different style map. Wouldn't be surprised to see snipers come out here, but there's just not a lot of play seen on this map. This is probably one of the least common. Timbermill probably taking the mantle of least commonly played map overall, but this is right up there.
And because of the way that this map is structured, Pantheon decide to immediately take off the Kinessa. So those long lines of sight can be really helpful. Strix hasn't been banned away yet, though. And I imagine if he is left up, there's a possibility that one of these teams does go with that strategy.
Pantheon will have the opportunity to grab it. Maeve for the first time, unpicked, unbanned in every single game, but just now seeing the value there. Maybe it's, we have this conversation every now and then, but again, not in the wheelhouse for a lot of guys because she has never been in the meta like she is right now. So I don't think a lot of people have her in their champion pool.
Some days she'll get a lot of love and some she doesn't. And when they do have somebody that can play Maeve, it's not always somebody that's usually assigned to that role. We've seen within the console scene actually how Lexi, who's typically a support player, is their Maeve player as well. So you have to be able to work around that if you do want to allow it within your composition. The Surge end up being the ones to pick up the Strikes in the middle of the draft.
And they continue to get comfort picks in the way of Genos and Khan, and just having that bonus damage available, the same sort of support frontline duo that they had in game number 1 that they just owned with on Ice Mines. They've had Khan all 3 games now, and I think that just proves to be a little bit of an asset for them. I don't think Pantheon have that in the wheelhouse.
And here's the Torvald locked in. We don't see as much of him within recent month or so, but once in a while he comes on through.
And Andro, hopefully, well, Shakespeare's probably going to be playing either Strix or Andro. I think Strix was the first character I ever saw from him, and it was on like a Frog Isle, and he just absolutely took over the game. So I'm looking for him to do that again here. I don't know if Pantheon can stop this. Maybe it comes from the Maeve pick because she's just tanky enough, I think, to box out with Strix in the backline, even if he is hitting a lot of pistol shots. But Shakespeare, like I said, he's been really scary on this pick in the past for me.
Fish Market. It is kind of odd that we're only in game 3 and we have already seen Ice Mines and Fish Market now. Bright Marsh is the only kind of typical map that we've went to. But interestingly enough.
Yeah, but I guess when you run these kinds of compositions, Surge can. You need a meme map to play with a meme comp.
That's fair. Well, and even the Moji play, a lot of times people consider within kind of more of the closed-in maps where you can really take advantage of that healing and running across and stuff, and worked well on Bright Marsh. So here, where it's a bit more spread out, you're not going to see something like that. But that's why the sniper comes through, and they're sticking with this con play. It's worked for them. Daddy on it. Had the Terminus during game 1. But still, just a solid frontliner that Surge has been able to lean on. Nice
what
shot.
Was that? That was a real fuzzy logic fireball right there. My goodness.
Well, you know, it happens. It happens. Surge, on the other hand, not getting as reckless with their shot so far. J-Quib is the one on this Andro. First blood taken down Goon Lord. So when the Maeve isn't around, just pounce and do whatever they want across this map. Everybody else following up onto the rest of the team. Then Surge, this is looking pretty good for their capture.
Pretty mechanical. Pretty deadly stuff here from both Quib and Shakespeare. The rest of Surge doing a good job being a support and cast, making space, giving heals if you're the con. I like what I've seen from them today for sure. They focus, I think, just playing what they're good with and playing what they're comfortable with rather than worrying too much about, what the meta dictates them.
Man, and the thing is, on this map, you can dismount, and that's what basically Surge was focusing on doing as soon as they got all those kills. We saw they sent about 30 people forward, and even with Pantheon trying to make it towards the objective. None of them had the speed to do so. Shakespeare landing all these shots and just saying, hey, rest of the team, if you want to clean up, that's cool. If not, they're going to have to back off and heal anyway. So I'm just going to do my thing all the way from the back.
He's got a hell of a shot for sure. Dashes are up for Andro. Jaquib could elect to go around or over the roofs here, but no one's really susceptible to that flank. You normally want someone where that Mave was if you're going to pull off that flank because you want to just get the drop on him, assassinate him quickly, and maybe still have a dash to get back out. Up in the air, reversal goes, doesn't find a target. 2 more seconds on that dash. How does he have such a quick dash cooldown? Can we look at this loadout? Is he running elimination CDR? Yeah, he is, 50%. I was going to say, because he whiffs his reversal, and then I just see that he's got 2 seconds on the dash cooldown. I'm like, what the hell is that?
Allows for a lot of mobility right now. Look, that was so quick for Surge in this first round. Under 3 minutes when it completed.
Cool thing about that card is once you've dashed once, your dash is on cooldown effectively. So if you get elimination during your 3 dashes, it still works. And basically the timer just starts from 5 seconds at that point. So a fun card. There's a lot of cool ways, and every build sort of revolves around the same thing for Andro, is getting your dashes back and just staying mobile, whether it's landing a punch, whether it's getting an elimination, whether it's hitting a reversal. They all do the same thing, but there's a couple of different stylistic ways to get it done.
Man, Surge, they haven't died at all during that round as well. And
yeah.
Maybe it's the jukes, maybe it's these heavy shots hitting. I mean, there's just a lot that they're doing right now, facing off against Pantheon. And when they're having that early lockdown on the Leon, on the Maeve, where nobody is there to try and poke down Surge and take them out of the equation, then they lose a lot of hope.
I think what they've done well, as clearly the better team here, what they're doing is not sitting on their laurels, not running the same thing over and over again. They're running very different stuff every single game that's requiring different answers from Pantheon. They haven't been able to find those answers just yet. As you can see, the cleanup comes through here, and just keeping them flustered, keeping them on the back foot, keeping them off balance is the name of the game, I think, here for Surge.
I wonder if Surge are pushing for that perfect game, and of course, as soon as I say it, maybe somebody's going to just fall off, which would be unfortunate. But right now, so far, so good. Streak's still going strong, and same strategy as they did the first round. After they get those kills, just move on forward. There's a Dread. Serpent has some separation, and that is the first to go down. So Pantheon managed to pick up 1, managed to pick up 2, but it's actually a capture for Surge, and now it's time to move on, assert dominance from this Ashe as well.
Forgot there was an Ashe in this game. And again, Leon just uses Enlightenment on the damage immune target? I don't know. Maybe she was going for Shakespeare in an ideal world would have landed, but mistimed to ultimate there. Some kills, though, for Pantheon, and it's always a good thing to get in Paladins.
Yeah,
a couple
3
kills.
of them. Yeah, there's
it's important.
a way to try and keep yourself in it, but the payload's already past 50%. Shakespeare is just zoned in on this Strix, not having to move from this back line because of the fact that the rest of his team is setting up these picks for him as well. Starting to round the corner. Maeve circling around the side, but was chunked down low before actually making it to that pathway and has to heal up.
1:30 left on the clock. Commander's grab aggressively, gets hit by a pounce, and has to back up. Doesn't like that amount of damage coming through, and a little bit of hurry up and wait for this payload. A Cursed Arm comes through. Good damage onto Fernando. Forces the Immortal.
Punch him! Punch him! Doesn't get the lasso with the punch, but still manages to land it. And I always like seeing that. Another hit onto Baboon. And Pantheon, they are just looking rattled right now. Yep, he just gave up.
I'm going to send you an Androxus loadout that's all about punching.
Yes!
I want you to play.
I love it.
It's a lot of fun. It actually is a lot of fun, though. It's close to viable. I don't know. Maybe if you're really insane at Android, you could pull it off.
Yeah, I mean, I like swagged out abilities.
It's a very swag loadout.
Yeah, that's what it feels like whenever Andro's doing that. But that Andro play, as well as a play from the rest of the team, Surge Esports getting another 4-0 and rocking it out strong throughout the set.
Great stuff. Perfect from them. They run a very different flavor composition every single time. But the team play just feels very, very strong for this Surge Esports Club roster. And frankly, I always enjoy watching them.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun when you have a team that's willing to try those wacky compositions and then still do well. So the 3-0 here in the finals. Because we've seen it, particularly when someone busts those out in PPL play where some of the teams are really even keeled,
Right.
it's very difficult to make that work because you need time to adjust to it. But here on this playground, Surge was feeling pretty good. That's going to do it for OCE. Of course, we have another set coming up for you in the PGS. We're going to hit it to a break. We'll be right back.
Hey, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the illustrious Paladins Global Series, now broadcast on live.paladins.com and many other platforms. Make sure you check that out. Of course, my name is Evan Rayner. That's William Newberry, Gormizer, Rain Day, respectively. It's time for North American PGS, and we just saw OCE, a fantastic showcase from the boys over there.
Yes, Surge,
Down under.
I feel like has always been like, there's Kanga, and right now there's Surge. Like, I think that's like the kind of definitive 1-2. Kanga, I mean, maybe going through roster changes, the way things have been going for them has been kind of shaky up and down, but they've always kind of been at the top. But Surge, I feel like, is just right on their heels.
Well, it's time to check out what's going on in North America. We have brackets very soon for you, and this is going to mean that we're going to see Gangstars versus Hey. Now, Gangstars, really important to notice that semifinal at the top of your screen. Gangstars and Toxicity were the two competing for a very important kind of spot at our previous LAN, the Masters LAN, that just happened in May. Gangstars taking that win over Toxicity. Now, what you may know, or not know if you follow the PPL, is that Toxicity and that entire roster has actually moved into the PPL as Splice. So this Toxicity, although it looks like that storied matchup right there, is a little bit different, and Gangstars did beat them and move on to claim first place unequivocally, I would say, now that Toxicity is gone in the North American side of things.
I'd say it's pretty impressive for even just a new roster to have come in under the Toxicity name and at least take a game off of Gangstars. Because, again, just keeping that rivalry up, even though it's just in name, having that experience, Gangstars now more than likely going to be not necessarily uncontested for number one, but they're going to be in that spot where it's just like, well, it was always you guys and Toxicity kind of swapping back and forth. Toxicity came out most of the time on top, but you got the one that was important to go to LAN.
Yeah.
Now you're going to be kind of, again, sitting up at the top, feeling very, very confident.
And listen, I expect to see Gangstars run this table. Hey, might have some good players, but Gangstars have got the experience of 2 LANs now.
Yeah.
2 LANs in their back pockets, 2 team trips, 2 travels, 2 things to break it down, be with the best players in the world, hear from them, talk to them, ask questions, get answers in both play and in both just words and advice. And I think this should be a reinvigorated Gangstars roster who want to qualify for the next opportunity and make sure that they are on top no matter what.
I mean, we're having another LAN relatively soon, so it is that time that you really have to kind of get back into it. And like you said, being able to play against the PPL teams, hang out with a lot of these players that are known around the world, and hit that point where you're like, man, I feel like we've got better. Like, even just sitting in the room and discussing certain things makes your play a little bit better, because you're like, okay, well, I didn't realize this mechanic worked that way before. I didn't see this work that way before. And it just gives you those little details that really excel.
And those little things make such a big difference, as you mentioned. We used to watch tape back when I was at UCLA, and every game we would sit down, we'd have a tape session. We watch. We say, Evan, you could have done this here. You need to move the ball a little faster. Here, you need to track back. Those little, you don't get a top-down view of yourself doing anything until you actually go and watch that footage. So that's something that's very important. They got a chance to do that. Gangstar starting off with a Makoa pick, and that looks like they're already in a good position in the draft, William.
I'm trying to think of a time when it's bad to review. And I don't think I can think of, because
if you don't have any time,
and you'll sit down and listen, and you'll be like, okay, well, we're gonna listen to our casting, and we'll be like, man, this is a great cast, we did perfect. And then you sit down, you have a note just page full of things like, man, I wish I had done that just slightly differently.
I know.
And I think that kind of comes in, and that's always I'm sure Fnatic even feels that way. They're like, man, we just won this 4-0, but I wish we hadn't done this.
I mean, you can always look at your moments to improve, and when you do, you really can glean a lot and take something with you that will improve your play beyond just the scope of that one game or that one moment, and hopefully into the future of your career as a Paladins player. Pip, Zin, Terminus, Moldaba, Makoa. Wow, that's a deadly, deadly dynamic. Shaolin and Cassie, though, on the side of Hey, and the Genos to augment this triple DPS with a Nara on the point. Hey have a pretty dangerous lineup, but so do Gangstars.
That's kind of where I'm looking at with Hey. They have, I want to say, not necessarily a more precise lineup, but it's one of those they have to execute it at a higher level more than what you see out of Gangstars. Gangstars is not necessarily like, oh, hey, I'm just going to right-click and get a kill, but they definitely have, especially with Makoa, a lot of displacement, a lot to really just set themselves up for kills that should just roll in. Hey have to execute it a little bit better. And honestly, this is one of those moments. If you do end up losing this one, even with a very good draft from Hey, you have to look at what Gangstars have and say, let's not let that happen again.
I mean, Makoa, and Terminus, given these are high-level bans across the entirety of EU, and they get both of them on Brightmarsh, their best maps, you'd say. Jalen Sanity, he missed the first trip in Vegas because of border issues, and obviously getting visa or getting the customs to let you through is a little bit harder for esports players now, but Neo, so to speak, was there, and he performed so well on these blasters, hoping to do so today on the Pip as well.
In fact, you'll see him boxing with another blaster. You should be familiar with this Bomb King Poison, 1999, put down, going to hang out with Arai. I guess the XPPL guys hanging out whenever they can. Unfortunately, Gangstars have been playing together for a long time, so even with Hay having a lot of that veteranship, you can see it's not quite the same.
And these are all guys that we've seen and know, Va, Indy, Arai. Arai used to be on SK Gaming and really was a part of the high-level scene, as well as, a few of the guys here, El Zulu, Envy. You see the talent that is on these teams. And Poison, I think I'm seeing on this BK here, who's actually dropped from the Renegades and replaced by Moonchopper, really going at it again, trying to make his name and keep grinding in the scene. I love it.
And you're in this position where, again, with Hay, you have, like you said, a lot of veteran names, but the problem is I've never seen all of these veteran names on the same team before.
Yeah,
so this is definitely this area where you're going up against Gangstars. This is probably the best experience to have as a team when you go up against a team that has been together for months and months and months, has that experience, they have that high-level play, and it's the perfect time to really get yourself, what's wrong with our comms, what's wrong with our unity as a unit. As of right now, Hey have been finding good picks here and there, but it just hasn't felt cohesive to me.
Not at all. El Zulu, the big kind of leader here. Him and Robinic kind of were on the charge of Splice. He's been around quite a while in our scene, visited the offices here at High Res Studios and taken tours. He's been at the last couple of lands looking to clean up this week on the Terminus thus far. Envy, great carry, great aimer. You see the seismic crash coming out, so they're backing off just a little bit. Minute 45 seconds and a beautiful hook from Kresnik. Again is going to set up Envy for a nice kill.
Now just being able to stay alive, that's going to be good heals. El Zulu going forward, although Neo going down. Envy finds 3, though, so it doesn't matter who exactly you lose. Even his own life doesn't really matter at the end of that. Now you're getting aggressive. El Zulu, him and Jalen are just going to walk this on in.
Yeah, and El Zulu protecting Jalen because he knows that's how he stays alive. Beautiful Dread Serpent, and that's not going to stop that, buddy. I know it's the reaction. Every Terminus does it. And you know what? This is what I like to see. 1 minute and 16 seconds left on the clock. Yes, he could go for it. They want to push it in, but he's going to use the patience.
I think it was maybe a little bit too aggressive, mainly coming down from El Zulu. Again, that positioning.
Yeah.
I like the fact the power siphon comes up, even though it doesn't do anything. Just because I like I think it's that reaction of it's better to do it when you don't need it than to not do it when you need it.
That's true.
And at least having that up, recognizing, okay, I'm going to take this. Holds on to the reanimate, though, which I think is the big key. Being able to come to this 50 seconds left, that's a big game-changing ult, especially at the end of a push.
Man, Kresnik is just going in. He has found so many good hooks, and he's using that rampage to continue his onslaught here. Beautiful swings, and there's really nowhere to go if you want to contest the point. Another hook there. Kresnik is on fire, and he gets a double kill, and it looks like it's going to be Gangstars pushing it through for the 2-0 lead here on Bright Marsh. Another one. El Zulu slams down and makes it known Gangstars are here to play.
And I think one of the huge keys throughout all of that for Hay is even though it didn't feel as cohesive as we saw at Gangstars, they were picking up kills here, there, left, right, anywhere that they were contesting. They were at least able to pick up a little bit. They didn't take it laying down.
Yeah.
Now with comeback mechanic, that's exactly the kind of play you need to at least try and even up the game. But the big problem I'm looking at, you're looking kind of towards Carnage Johnson on that Cassie. 0 and 4.
Carnage Johnson.
Damage is there, 26k, just not able to find any of the frags.
Heck of a name right there as well. I love it too.
It's just
Carnage Johnson.
I feel like
in the building.
The best narration could come from this guy.
Yeah, you really do think
he'd be the guy you want to do your commercial for this.
I want to hire Carnage Johnson for something.
Drink.
Yeah,
you're throwing it out there.
Carnage Johnson.
Get your Cassie fuel.
Get your Monster Energy with Carnage Johnson. Feels like a race truck driver combined with a WWE celebrity. All in one. What
He's
a commercial.
Got it all.
What an opportunity. 24% here already. Seismic Crash, and Poison tries to make the move, but a beautiful explosive flask actually lands it. And guess who's there with the hook? None other than Kresnik, but he goes down thanks to Arrive. Very, very important shot from the Catalyst. Going to poke him back a little bit and open up spots for Niyu to actually reposition and get back into this fight, but Arai wins the duel, and he finds the kill onto the support.
Right now, El Zulu, I think, showcasing part of why Terminus has risen really to the top with the way things are. This is probably the best champion I'd have on here just because of this fight right here. Going up against Inara, it's like nothing.
Yeah, good slither as well. He knows the turning radius on that from Poison is not going to be able to get him back, so he just backs up a little bit and then goes up the stairs. Poison, helpful in terms of his attempt, helpless in terms of his execution. Kresnik finds the kill finally, and another hook. This man, I can't have enough to say about him. The hook size has been diminished. It's a little wonky, but he is really looks sharper than any Makoa I've seen in the last few weeks.
And really being able to hit him on that vertical
yeah,
edge as well. That's where it really was nerfed. Is like, hey, I can't pull you down off that ledge anymore. Finding that hit is a lot more difficult. So Kresnik on point every step of the way. And another one, that wall, barely going to stop Poison from coming through, but still finding it just through a crack.
Oh my god, and a double Evil Mojo there, but you know it has set up so much carnage, especially for Carnage Johnson, who finds himself back to base. Another hook. Kresnik has been flawless on Bright Marsh with this type of play, with this type of team. A Terminus and a Makoa. Arai, the only saving grace here, but Niu looks to take the battle on, and a Power Siphon is going to make it that much easier. Carnage Johnson, though, back in the ropes, and he does find at least one kill.
I feel like Poison, for a lot of this game, has not actually been able to choose his positioning. I feel like it's been hooked out wherever he happens to stand. Killing off Kresnik is probably the best thing for them right now. With 1:20, I mean, this is where the payload was last time with 40 seconds left. They're still pressing this issue. Gangstars are right at your door, and they're just going to wait, regroup a little bit, and come back in full force.
I love it. And, you know, El Zulu, really good management of these Calamity Blasts, being able to run a loadout, which is most likely giving him some increased ability to charge those faster. A rare hooked that's missed from Kresnik, and they take advantage of that moment of vulnerability. Now here's the question. They're going in, and they may just buy time for Makoa to get there. The Dread Serpent is acted as well. They've got to keep Envy alive, and they do. Seismic Crash comes out, but Poison finds the kill on a Neo. They've got to get Indy down and force these damage dealers into the front line. They go into the front line, but by their own choice, they see an opportunity, but Zulu gets healed to full yet again.
Envy just kind of dancing around, getting a lot of poke around on mainly the Inara, but not quite finding any of the kills. That was a beautiful slash. One more hit should get rid of Carnage Johnson, but again, just off the mark.
And Envy chasing that down as well. Maybe a bit of a overextension from Envy. He's got to get back to his teammates. Jalen Sanity doing so well keeping everyone together. That stun almost misses, but look at this. It's Envy ready to set it up, and Kresnik ready to knock them down in the back line with a double kill yet again. Arai is there, and they know he's there. They hear him. They found him, and they've also found a win. Gangstars grabbing the victory in game number 1.
Bomb King Poison tries to get down there, tries to do whatever he can. I think the King Bomb even rolled through towards the tail end, but it just wasn't enough, wasn't in the right area, didn't have anywhere near enough time. There's just so much, again, going right for Gangstars playing as that just cohesive team.
And you have to say that the draft was a big leverage point for them. They did not feel outdrafted in any position. The Pip did a great job of competing with Poison's Bomb King and forcing him off the high ground, which put him in a bad spot. Also, Kresnik was phenomenal, and you got to say the Makoa made the biggest impact, just repositioning key targets in bad times for Hay to be able to sustain them.
Half the fights he didn't have a Bomb King.
Yeah.
If you did, like, it's like he got 3 bombs off before a hook found him and pulled him into the middle of everyone and then just damaged them.
It's like I swear we didn't go 4v5 into this match. Like we drafted a Bomb King. I don't know where he is, but we definitely drafted one.
And Bomb King actually has a dent in his side now. His model's been changed. How many hooks hit? Just right there in the side, that anchor, eventually it just pulls you in.
He's going to say he's been doing a lot of oblique workouts, but I don't think that's the case. We all know it's the hook. We saw it. We have it on film. So again, Hay will have a chance to draft and hopefully put themselves in a position to win this game. Gangstars, though, coming out strong off the gate, the favorites by far, although there are some great players on Hay. Arai, a standout performance on the Shaolin, definitely keeping them at least in the conversation of back and forth on some of these points.
Inara being prioritized. This is another map that honestly, it was one that when I first started watching it all, Inara seemed like, okay, she's the one to have. And she's still a really, really good frontline. But I think these last 2 maps, if there's anyone that you want that's going to beat Inara, it is going to be Terminus. You just get the Bulldozer. That makes it so much easier for you. And Gangstars performed so well with it last time, I don't really see a reason to change it up, and they didn't either.
And it really shuts down a playstyle, right? With this treacherous ground, where you have this Warriors field that cripples, that's huge. There's a lot of persistent damage you can't get around, and it forces people away. It doesn't mean that you still can't run it, but it does mean that when Terminus is around, you know 2 swings and it's gone. So do you want to buy into that, even though there's a lot of potential, or do you want to go for Mother's Grace and be more defensive, have less impact on the point?
There's been a loadout for Terminus as well, and I can't remember the name of the card exactly, but it's the one that you can't be slowed below
it follows.
of your movement speed. And a lot of people just, okay, I'm going to run that at 100%.
Yep.
It takes a lot of points, but when it comes to Terminus, again, it's kind of that feel of most of your usefulness is in your actual abilities, not necessarily in your loadout. Your loadout just kind of augments where you can be useful, and I think having that, especially against Inara, just means, okay, you can't run away from me now. You can't slow me down.
And you have to think about this, too. Terminus is limited by his ability to be in your face. If you take away opportunities to stop him from being in your face, you basically allow Terminus to be a better character. He excels when he can not get rooted, slowed down, stalled out, and get to where he wants to be on the map. It follows in cards such as those help him to do that. It's game 2. Gangstar's in the lead, and now Envy has a chance on the Shaolin.
The no slow, no mo build probably.
No slow, no mo.
Just, again, you can't slow him down. You can't stop him. Envy going kind of the, I want to say standard, 25% movement speed is really big. I want on the Shaolin, but having the bullseye, 50% cooldown reduction whenever you get an elimination, that means your planets are worth so much in terms of value if you pick up a kill, because you essentially get it almost, not necessarily right back, but you're going to be able to kind of withdraw, shoot, planted, withdraw, shoot, planted, just continue that cycle.
You here on the right side, he's really one of those impressive players for me, because Gangstar's, one of the things they were able to do is Envy finds the first blood easily on a poison, most likely with a withdraw combo out of stealth, is the ability, oh no, they see him, but they actually don't know where he is. He's void grip, they actually can't see, he might turn it around, and he at least has put Va in a bad spot. This is the enemy territory for Hayes support, so he's got to be careful. They got to get him out of there, otherwise this is bad news bears, and Va doesn't make it out alive. Niu collapses and finds the kill.
Right now, the Bomb King now on the other side, Poison feeling the brunt of the damage. Arai in this just awkward position, I want to say, when you're a Barrack, and actually, no, not solo frontline, so it's just difficult, I want to say, when you try to find your home. Where do you go? You're not on the point, because Inara doesn't hold the point, and you can't really set up your turrets.
And this is a little trap that, you know, is being set, and forcing Poison into a damned if you, damned if you don't. I love the bomb, but it's actually out of the radius. Poison really aware, or maybe just had nowhere else to go and hope for the best of the impact that would have. And he did not get stunned. He's going to recover here, and he's got a second life against two very low champions, but one's a healer and one's Shaolin, so he's got to be careful. 99% for Gangstars, and Hayes still collapsing, trying to find a way, but Kresnik finds the kill on the Carnage Johnson.
And I love the call Envy made right there. It's one of those moments where it's like, well, there's a buck over here on boxing.
Yeah.
They need my damage on the point, though. I'm going to come over here, I'm going to get the kill for the objective, and then turn around and, oh, hey, look, Poison's still back here.
Yeah.
He's isolated himself to the point where I can just capitalize on his positioning and help my team.
And at the problem, you know, Poison has too much to do there. I mean,
yeah.
He kills Jay Lin, he kills Envy, and then he still has to make his way onto the point and burn down a full health Terminus. You know, that's not going to happen. And the amount of time they needed to, and so unfortunately just not the best of situations for him. And this is the stealth kind of mechanic that's allowing Carnage Johnson not see where he comes from. Niu and Envy combined. Beautiful play, does the hop thing, can't quite find it. But again, Gangstar is making sure that Hay are melting like a hot knife through butter.
I love the hop thing. I think it's probably one of my favorite things to watch.
It's a great thing.
That was one of those rare instances where I actually kind of wish he hadn't done the hop thing.
That's right. He
just
got a little
because
too far.
of where he landed. If he hadn't gone there, might have been able to find the plane. It doesn't really seem like it matters too much for Gangstars right now. They're still picking up kills. Carnage Johnson going to be, again, on the receiving end of all the carnage.
Great name, but it's unfortunate that you are attracting a ton of carnage to you, I think. And Fireball misses from Kresnik, but he still has an opportunity to help burn down, both literally and figuratively, Indy, who is playing the Inara. It's going to be a 2-0 push. This one's even faster than the last. 3 minutes gone by, about 2 minutes and 30 seconds of playtime, and it's already halfway home for Gangstars.
I cannot get over how much I like the name Carnage Johnson. And it's
Carnage
Johnson! I actually kind of want it to be in this area where, like, he'd be on that team where it's like you have 4 guys that are really, really good, and he gets carried to that, but he's the showboater, right?
He's
like,
the
he's the one who
showboat,
comes out, and he gets in your face, and he puts you down, and you're like, man, Carnage Johnson, you're not even that good. Come on.
That's my boy. He would be played by the boy Eastbound and Down, the guy who is the star of that show, and he does like the Mountain Dew commercials right now. What's his name?
2, 1.
Danny McBride. That would be Carnage Johnson reenacted in this. He would get carried, he would talk trash, he would suck, and he would be the star of the show.
And it'd be perfect. It's like, I just want him to be the WWE of Paladins. Like, that's where I want this to get driven for him. The way things are going, it's still unfortunate that he's just not able to have that presence. Kresnik going to get taken, or take him down as Envy does get found. It's just some trades back and forth. Shaolin actually dying might be worse.
And Jalen Sanity talked about as one of the most complete support players, and he somehow is avoiding all this damage, and you got to give credit to where credit's due. Kresnik not only allows Jalen Sanity's great play to extend itself through the Immortal, but keeps him and himself and his teammates present on the point to allow for some reinforcements to come through and allow Envy to get back into this fight. Although he is getting low, Poison has to take him down twice, and by the time he's done, Jalen Sanity comes over with a very clutch kill. A little spit from the snake, from the gourd, and now Gangstars are in a great position to not only take this point, but take this game.
That was probably the perfect example of how difficult it is to lock down a Maldamba, again, in a team that knows what they're doing.
Yeah.
A slither through time and space to make sure that he's not going to get taken down. Then you have the Immortal come out. Okay, your health bar's not dropping any lower. You can heal us up. And then a couple of body blocks, again, coming down from Kresnik, where it's just like, Jalen can't die here because they will not let him. It's just not allowed in the rules. It actually says that.
It's in the rules. It's not allowed. That's not okay. And I love the way that they're going about it here by just giving so much and taking so much as well. Sometimes they will see that space. They'll have a flank coming from Poison, and they'll move together. They'll accept it and isolate Poison themselves. If somebody gets a little bit too far extended, you'll see they're not hesitating to throw the damage out there or throw some big ultimates like the Dread Serpent was used. King Bomb as well. They want to finish this game quickly. Still 60% to go. He's not going to find much off that except some space.
Nice bombs, though, and just being able to, again, lock down Hay so they can't actually leave their base. This is the second time this has happened in 2 rounds, and it's just, again, this area of, cool, you have a shield, you can put it up, maybe you can step out, get some shots off, but we're just waiting for you. Come out this door, you're going to be met with a ton of damage.
And she should get stunned, feared. I don't think so. Either way, Gangstars take this one even more convincingly than the last. However, it is a similar map, so if they want to switch it up, hey, have to start looking next game to change the pace of these fights. They have to change the pace of the conversation in the draft. They also need to find themselves an update on Windows, as we can hear now. I think that was just a sign. Maybe one of their players needs to get to the next level.
That's where Carnage Johnson went.
They need to update their privacy policy, as we can see now.
Carnage Johnson's privacy update is that he is going to be less private. Everything's in the open.
Full privacy policy.
I'm honing in on him. I love his name.
Carnage Johnson.
Good. I love Poison. I love Arai. I love the way these teams play.
Who cares about Gangsters? Let's talk about the real star
good.
of the show, Carnage Johnson, carrying his team, hey, to an 0-2 loss right now.
And you know the Buck wrestler skin?
Yeah.
That's his outfit.
Has to be.
Same mustache, too. Everything.
It's
a
great name.
The exact same.
In
my mind. This is all just becoming. This is the real story right here.
None but love for Carnage Johnson and his performances today. You know, it's been tough because, again, you talk about, hey, putting up some effort, having some great players in there. We've seen Orion perform. We've seen Poison perform in moments. He does take down Envy 2 times there, realizing he is the kind of important member in this Gangstars lineup, the way he was piloting that Shaolin and giving them that snowball potential. But it's unfortunate now, I think, that Gangstars maybe just looking like they're outgunning Hay across the board. It's being very difficult to be overcome.
Well, and there's a lot that's just inherently going to be difficult because you're going up against, again, a team that has been together for months. They have played together for months. They understand each other's calls. They know your intuition. So it's just like, okay, I know in this kind of scenario, this is what play you're going to make. I can react on that. I trust that you're going to make that because that's how you do it every time. And that makes, specifically for Jalen Sanity, that makes his job way easier because he knows where they're going to be.
You have to also think about this interesting dynamic between Gangstars, although going back to that Toxicity matchup, Toxicity now in the PPL, Gangstars have players who have been in that Splice roster and have fallen down. Although they took the crown, they got to the 2 lands, Toxicity had to sit at home, and they had to say, what do we do next? They end up getting their chance now, and Gangstar is still fighting for that illustrious spot. Everyone in the PGS says, I want to eventually get back to the PPL. For some of these guys on Gangstars, they're fighting for not just a chance, they're fighting for a second chance.
And really, I think that's the key. Coming back, you go into Vegas, and you actually take a game off SK. You're feeling pretty good. You're like, okay, this land wasn't exactly the way we wanted it to go. Obviously, we didn't go any further than where we landed, but we did the best we could.
Yeah.
And we showed up, and we're actually able to say, look, we beat at least one map on a PPL team. Then you come into the LAN, and you're like, okay, again, we take down We Love Gaming, Blazing Stars.
Yep.
We go into it thinking we are good enough here.
Right.
PGS terms were really great, and it's just that awkward gap where it's like, man, the rest of the PGS is down here, the PPL's up here, and you're just in that no man's land where you're just trying to break forward.
To me, it's all about finding special players. Special players help make special teams. It helps give people vision. You don't have a Cavs winning season without a LeBron James. You don't have a Golden State Warriors 3-4-peating no matter what without Kevin Durant joining into the conversation and saying, wow, it's just overwhelming. You don't have those things unless you have those stars that give you that edge from a visual perspective when you're thinking about the game to actually performing in-game. And I think that Gangstars, my one point of feedback is they need a guy who's going to do that. NIU, for me, incredibly talented and willing to play blasters. That's not usual in North America. He could step up into that role. Envy, incredible aimer. He's had so much experience, been in the PPL, dropped down now. He could step up into that role. It's harder for guys like Zulu and Kresnik and Jalen, despite how good they are and solid, to carry teams on those flex support roles. But I got to say that anybody has an opportunity here to really step Gangstars, I guess, just meter up as far as the international scene.
I'm excited for this. I don't know if I've ever seen Jalen Sanity play anything that was not a support. Now he's going to be on the Buck, and I think that is either, it's going to be hit or miss.
That's a flex.
With the way things go. That is a very big flex all the way around. But if it performs well, I mean, Buck, he's a little bit, I want to say, easier to flex onto just because he's a lot harder to kill, but he does a lot of damage with played right, so I'm excited to see what he can pull out.
Yeah, and this is 2-0. You're playing against you're running Jolt 4-5. You're playing against a team you know you've dominated against in the last couple games. You're giving Jalen Sanity a chance to shine. He wants to play some Buck. Let the man play some Buck. It's a great champion if you are flexing off that. And, of course, as most supports, as most front lines are, great players in Paladins, regardless of the role that they're playing. NIU carrying the damage load here on the side of Gangstars as they got 78% and counting on the point.
Just shots, locking them down, keeping Hay pretty much corralled where they want them. They're not able to come onto the point. If they do, the Gangstars are going to be able to just eliminate them because, again, they're in this kind of fishbowl area where Gangstars are all around the rim, able to look down and shoot you poison, locked away. Finally get rid of Jalen Sanity, but, again, Envy is the one you really need to worry about.
And Kresnik here onto this back line. Genos, extremely important for them. Finding 2 kills, and last hitting as a Genos, it's just so incredibly strong for your team. When you can pull those things off. We actually saw, I gotta say, it reminds me of, I don't know if I actually saw Clicky do this, but he comes to mind over the PPL. But we had some really clutch moments from Genos picking up champions that are just fleeting as through time and space, and Kresnik again helps his claim.
Everything that you can find on that, even just 1 kill.
Yeah.
If it's a free fire, it's going to be phenomenal for you and your team. You feel good because you get the kill, and of course your team's happy because that's now a 4v5. And it's just not necessarily an instant delete button, but when you have that and then you get a scenario like this, I actually wouldn't mind seeing the Buck Wild come through just to try and melt down the shield, melt down the con.
And it's a really good kind of duo play, right? Indy basically knows he's not CC immune, so he Commanders grabs him during it, wastes about 25% of the duration of Buck Wild, which I like. But, also great job from Jalen Sanity to ignore Indy on the con and just say, let me get this healing off the table. It's pretty much is just as fast as you can push this point. I don't think it stopped at all. 3 minutes and 20 seconds, about 2 minutes and 30 seconds played, and we have a 2-0 already.
The way things are going, I like the way, again, the intuition, I think, from Jalen is in that area. That was last week. Coming into work.
I like it.
I have some interesting playlists. He clips 2 there.
All right, just barely makes it out alive.
And that's that good old frontline health bar. That's nothing else other than the fact that he is Barrack in that kind of positioning.
Absolutely. Envy here on a nice little double wrecker, and you can see that really only 2 players have died. I think NIU and Jalen Sanity are the ones that have died. Kresnik on a 10 streak here, contributing his lion's share of, I guess, kills and eliminations on a 10 streak alongside the Inara, who is on a 6. And Dragon Punch at the ready. Carnage Johnson finds a big pick onto El Zulu. Will this change something? NIU trades with him right away.
It's the only front line they have on the side of Gangstar, so now it's actually going to be up to the DPS to try and clean up. And clean up they shall. Carnage Johnson, Arai, Poison, Va, as they keep going. You want to add another one to that list? Envy, triple kill, looking for the Quadra. Nia takes it away, but that is exactly what they needed.
Yeah. They really needed another Quadra kill in this game.
Well, it was, please, just a triple. Neo took away the Quadra.
Yeah, that's true. These guys have been dominant. It's good to see them And 1,035 damage, boy oh boy, I'm telling you, this Luminary Bomb King is such a threat, especially with Royal Subjects. It's just such a wide radius, so much value. Khan used the Overpower. They found a kill into El Zulu again. Not been the best round for him, to be honest. He's gotten killed by a Dragon Punch and an Overpower, and his teammates have really carried the weight.
So in that area, again, you're running triple DPS. You only have the one front line. Normally, Inara is the one that you want just because she's so survivable, but you have 2 insta-kills on the side of Hey. They've both been used. Finally, though, El Zulu's back. Stops him at 97 to 87, and he's going to be sitting on this point doing their best.
Oh, and there it is. You found Carnage Johnson. You found some support from Jay Lin, who gets that kill. And you now see a spike coming through, but with the healing from Astral Mark, it's not going to be enough to finish him off. Gangstars grab the third, as we expected here, and a dominant performance from North America's kind of PGS prize child now, as they continue to show that they are a team not to be trifled with.
Is there anything worse than being Zen, ulting someone, and actually watching their health bar go
increase?
Up?
Yeah, that's bad.
It's probably the worst feeling, maybe second to, losing the Penta or not quite being able to live in an engagement. You had that clutch play, you jump in, they're all really low, and then you just whiff one shot, and then you die, and you just weren't able to pull it off. There's just very few moments, I think, in the game that have that same, I want to say, just demoralization.
And you can see there almost a Poppy Bomb getting rid of the Khan. Niu throws it up there, and now forces Indy's all his cooldowns. Commander's grab, the shield, he's got the battle shout. Really good stuff he can do with Jolt here, and actually it'll be funny. I'm sure he's been trying to send people off the map all game. And this is a good area, especially where they're holding. They're going to have to be careful in solo. He's going to start the King Bomb up. He's got the Luminary Mark, so this means he's going to be able to actually get a little bit healthier. They try to combine it off the stun. Niu finds one, and it's going to be Jalen Sanity on a 12 streak, finishing the game there as El Zulu says, you killed me twice. But that doesn't mean I'm going to play nice. I'm going to take this point while you're fighting over there and just finish the game myself.
I feel like El Zulu was the only one out of everyone, not only the players but us, that actually had their mind on the point. He's sitting there like, I'm pushing the payload. I'm just going to push the payload. There's a fight over here. There's a fight over here. Someone's in base. Someone's back there just trying to get some cool shots. And, oh, wait, the game's done.
You could say it was rock solid. I think that's true. And great plays from him. Great plays from Gangstars. That's going to wrap it up for today. Bracket goes 3-0. Hey, good performances throughout. Bloodsin, Kappa, they beat Toxicity, and Gangstars fought earlier. Gangstars now taking the 3-0 lead here in the finals. That's going to do it for our North American PGS. I'm Evan Rayner. That's William Newberry. Rain Day Gormizer. We will see you guys back very soon for the PPL. It starts at 3 p.m. Eastern Time. We'll be getting a glimpse, I believe, at North America, having their chance to shine, and some high-level matches, I think, that I'm excited about, William, heading into today.
And so far, I can't remember the exact matchups for today, but I remember this week was one that I was very excited for.
Really important.
Because, again, there's a lot of things, even especially the way yesterday went with Fnatic, and the fact that they weren't a dominating, just splash through in Europe, really leads me to believe that right now, pretty much all 10 teams in the PPL are just next to each other.
It's really like the SKG2 matchup that's really exciting because you get to see the War Doom and Vex swap, how that works out for both teams, and they'll really get to go head-to-head to see the results. And then in the, that roster, Rock Monkey should be back. We'll have Splice, the new roster that was Toxicity. So all of those great teams and names you may know will be playing at 3 p.m. Eastern Time. So make sure to stay tuned for there. And as always, friends, remember to never give up, never stop gaming, and we'll see you all in the realm.